Surprise, Søren Møller from the Danish National Sports Association.
First time I said, Peter, I've not been here all through the... There's a microphone. There's only one.
There should be 4 microphones around.
I must admit I have not been here during all the conference, so perhaps what I'm going to say now is something has been said, but if you should be a bit critical in a good way, you could say that the ideas we've heard about how to develop the city is that people only walk and drink coffee. It's more a cafe culture and a walking culture, but what about the sporting culture in an urban way? I think that's the next part to put into this, that we have the organized sports facilities, and many people have left them and went to the street because they want a more flexible life and they want to involve physical exercise in their daily life. But there's still a big group of people who are not active enough, so perhaps we have to take the organizing part out into the cities too. And we, in fact, looking in TDI, how could we organize in new ways in the parks, in the streets, so that you give people an opportunity to be sportive together with other people. There's still a big group of people who want some guidance when they start to be more active. So I think you have to take the organizing part into the streets too.
What kind of sport do you want to put into the park? Can you give some examples of the activities?
That could be many kinds of sport. It is the street sport, of course, among young people, but it's also gymnastics, running, football, whatever. And I think that we are now seeing that all kinds of sport get a street way too. Street football, street handball, and so on. It's a trend right now that you have both the sportive way of the sport, but you also get the street out of it. And I think we will have to learn that we should also organize that in order to get more people into it. And especially in the grown-up group. Some of them, if they have to do exercise that make a change, that they're not walking half an hour a day, that's not enough to be healthy. They also have to stretch sometimes. Then they need some guidance.
And that would let you comment from...
Well, I'd like to hear from the woman in the second row who had her hand up there, but we couldn't see her.
Yes?
The suggestions a little, but what I like to ask is a question for the architects. How much they listen the techniques, for example, the physical education teachers to build the space, the one that provide the activities, the one that is really in contact with the public.
And this was Maria Luisa de Souza from the Brazilian CESC, Sport for All organization. And technique in Brazilian, I think, is trainer. Is that right?
Training. The trainer, physical education teachers.
How much do you listen to trainers and teachers as architects? Yeah.
Okay. Up until July this year, I worked for Sport Scotland for 23 years as head of facilities development there, and it's a national agency for developing sport. And a few years ago, the Scottish Government decided to introduce a school building. We said to the government, you need to apply standards, and they said, no, it's up to the local authorities. So we took it upon ourselves and wrote guidance on school sports facilities for indoor sports, for pitch sports, and how they should be managed for community use. And that is now an accepted guidance. And the way we did that was to engage with the PE teachers and get them around and tell us what they were looking for, because what we were getting from the PE teachers were saying the heads of the schools are not listening to us about the sports spaces. So as a national agency, we took on their role and created the standards based on what they had to do. And quite interestingly, because we have a facilities planning model, it's a computer-based model for community use of sports facilities. And when we worked out for a secondary school or a high school in American terms, what you need for a high school is exactly what you would need for that catchment area for the community. So you didn't need to add anything else on, other than maybe adapt the changing rooms for adult use rather than children's use.
But Jan, doesn't that mean that you restrict yourself to the traditional well-known sports and perhaps forget to make more flexible facilities that can also be taken by groups who are not perhaps into football?
Well,
handball.
A football pitch could be, in Scotland, a football pitch becomes an athletics track in the summer. they just mark it out differently. You can run, so because it's rectangular, it doesn't mean to say you can't use it in different ways. So there's lots of things.
But that's still traditional. That's it. Track and field is still very well known. And
but you can do all sorts of games on it. And also the link to that for primary schools, we also did guidance for primary schools, which were much more flexible and more about indoor. Indoor spaces in Scotland are important because of the weather conditions. It's not, it's cold and wet and horizontal rain, so you need people indoors. But at the same time, there is a group called Grounds for Learning, which we work with, which was about using school playing grounds as a means of learning and activity and interacting with the surroundings. So it's not mutually exclusive, it's how you design these places.
Others? Sorry, Liliana Ortiz de la Cruz, de Colombia.
I'm going to change a little remark. Is that I have been in several congresses. Always we have the opportunity to see new projects, new ideas, and as I say, maybe not new ideas, but new ways to face them since different countries and different points of view. But this year, we had the opportunity to have from South America water. Okay. He's the decision maker. He's a politician. And to me, it's the first time that we have the opportunity from South America to have a person that could make things happen. And I'm really very glad to see how open he is. He was so open-minded to all the ideas we had here. Now he told us that he was talking with his mayor and he's now doing things. And I wish in Colombia we could have more politicians like him and that we could be able to bring him here and to make sport for all become true. So maybe he's not from Colombia, he's from South America, so I'm so sure that anything that he could make in Sao Paulo, that is one of the biggest cities in South America, will be a very good example for the rest of our continent. So a question for him is, to be part of this Congress, to be able to share many of these ideas, what's the biggest challenge that you have for your country, for your city?
I think that was a compliment.
Yeah.
Although it was not from a voter, it was really a compliment.
Yeah. See, I'm talking to the secretary, health secretary of Louveira 1 minute ago, and I am a medicine doctor too. I'm doing more for health in our city, like sports secretary, if I was a secretary of health, understand? Because we understand now the sport for all, and we have a traditional culture to make sports inside gymnasium, quarters, and great buildings. We have to try to make the sports in the street, in the parks, all over the city, and with a lot of modalities, not only football, soccer, and rugby, and volleyball, basketball. When we did the turnover 24 hours sports in São Paulo in September, right, in September, we offer almost 200 modalities. You know, we have 300 modalities.